Hey everyone, Algornath here from Return of the Fan, and got a couple of articles from Screen Rant, which is known to be a reasonably left-leaning media organisation. So when they write a kind of balanced review, it's a little bit takes you back a little bit. So I've got a review of the first episode of season 13 called Doctor Who Flux, and then another article which talks about the future of Doctor Who in seasons 14 onwards. So Doctor Who Season 13 of Doctor Who Flux has begun, but the premiere episode sums up both the strengths and weaknesses of Chris Chibnall's era. So let's have a look and see what they say. The Halloween apocalypse leaves Doctor Who's audience with questions aplenty. I won't go into what it says because I don't want to give away any spoilers there. Hopefully you don't read that. Amidst all these questions and more, however, the Doctor Who Flux premiere makes one thing absolutely clear. Doctor Who needs Russell T Davies. So they can see they're admitting that Chibnall has done worse for this franchise than anyone else, and they need Russell T Davies to come back and save the franchise. Doctor Who Season 13 story is a chaotic mess. That's not a good start. Is this guy a Wookiee or something? Have they got a Wookiee in Doctor Who? Looks like a friggin' Wookiee. um, so the opening Doctor Who Flux episode suffers from a deluge of storylines, all fighting for attention, some only getting a single scene before they're forgotten about completely. Oh, that's terrible. It's important to consider that the Halloween Apocalypse is the first chapter in the larger Doctor Who story, and Chris Chibnall is clearly planting all the necessary seeds here ahead of their sprouting further down the line. Unfortunately, that means the Halloween Apocalypse as a standalone episode is burdened with the labyrinthine narrative, cramming far too much into its 60-minute runtime. Among the plots covered, or at least started, actually won't go down that road, so I don't want to give away any spoilers, but you can see that having too many things introduced all at once in the first 60 minutes is probably not a good thing to do, because you just can't give enough time to the various characters and the scenes to really explain all those things are. All these paths will merge eventually, but as the first taste of Doctor Who Flux, the relentless crusade of setup compromises the flow of the first episode. More importantly, the sheer volume of stuff gives no single story an opportunity to breathe. How are viewers supposed to care about Vinder's escape when Chibnall's script has already moved on to Claire, then Diane, then some couple in Iceland? It's like Marvel setting up the Avengers in a 1 hour special. Yeah, that would be absolutely terrible, wouldn't it? And it's the hectic, tangled narrative of Doctor Who Flux's opening gambit that continues the biggest problem for Chris Chibnall's era: storytelling. Storytelling is the pits in his particular era. The four-team TARDIS crew, for instance, spread each companion's screen time much too thinly, whereas focusing on one or two companions would have yielded more emotional depth, the same way Doctor Who Flux bites off more than it can chew, dividing audience investment across 10 different plot threads instead of picking 3 or 4 and doing them well. Ooh, that's pretty bad. I still remember the early Doctor Who's before Modern Who. I only had one companion, right? And you could really develop that character along with the Doctor as well, which made them so lovable as companions. Doctor Who's Season 13 troubles also a repeat of a Timeless Child problem: over ambition. Oh, the Timeless Child episode absolutely destroyed Doctor Who because it completely retconned the beginning of Doctor Who and who he is. That's the whole point of Doctor Who, is Doctor Who? Who is he? We don't know. We don't care. We let us speculate it for infinity, right? We don't need to know where he came from. It didn't need to be explained, and you absolutely destroyed the fan base because of this, Chibnall. So Doctor Who Flux makes Chibnall's era strength better, including Jodie Whittaker. So let's hear what good things they say about this particular thing. Some say otherwise, but Chibnall's era's Doctor Who has plenty to enjoy, and those bright spots shine even brighter in Season 13. As part of the Chibnall revolution, Doctor Who began employing an entirely new, more cinematic style of filming. This meant a noticeable uptick in visual quality that even the most damning of Chibnall's critics can't ignore. Alien planets, North English countryside, blah 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 blah. In fact, these days, Doctor Who fans don't care about that. Doctor Who has always been lo-fi, low-tech. Just look at all the episodes before Modern Who, right? Even though we didn't have CGI back then, look at what the Daleks was. It just like a robot with a bloody toilet plunger sticking out the front of it. That's what made it unique, and that's what made it lovable. We don't need flashy CGI and stuff, right? Actually, if you do practical effects, it's even much better. So that doesn't ring true with me. I don't care if it looks amazing. It comes down to the stories and the characters, which really bring the season and the episodes to life. Jodie Whittaker's 13th Doctor remains another undisputed highlight of Chris Chibnall's Doctor Who. Sadly not blessed with the scripts of her predecessors, Whittaker has wrung every drop of heart and humour from the material. So that's pretty noticeable, right? Not blessed with the scripts of her predecessors. That's a nice way of saying her scripts are shit. The writers of Doctor Who are absolute shit, right? They can't write anything to save themselves, and they have no idea how to write a good female character. They just make them completely overpowered, and it's full of woke intersectional feminism. So let's go on to, here we go. Flux proves Doctor Who needs Russell T Davies. When BBC announced Russell T Davies would return to Doctor Who and straddle Chris Chibnall as both a predecessor and a successor, the overwhelming reaction was a positive one. You're going to have to retcon the timeless child Russell T Davies, because if you don't, many Doctor Who fans will not be coming back, because it completely destroys the Doctor Who mythos. So you'll need to retcon that if you want to bring back all of the fans who have left because of Chibnall and the current Doctor. Not only did Davies successfully bring Doctor Who back from its 1990s wilderness, but he presided over one of the most critically and commercially successful stints as the Doctor's long history, conjuring up numerous classical episodes with Christopher Eccleston's 9th Doctor and David Tennant's 10th. Only problem was, he was building on top of all of the old Who, which were awesome. Now he's going to have to build on top of a few seasons of absolute crap Doctor Who. Let's see how he's going to be able to do it. Russell T Davies spearheaded the modern Doctor Who format of episodic adventures, building towards a larger narrative, and his teamplay arguably hasn't been bettered since. Storytelling comes as naturally to Davies as scientific waffle does to the Doctor, both in terms of pacing and structure, and more importantly, making the audience care. Though Davies was certainly guilty of throwing the kitchen sink on occasion, his companion mega team-ups and Dalek Cybermen clashes still feel sharply focused, worlds away from the scattered incompleteness of the Hollywood Halloween apocalypse. That's pretty bad coming from Screen Rant, who's normally quite left-wing minded. Russell T Davies' Doctor Who wasn't always shiny and polished, but it was almost always cohesive and meaningful. Not saying much about Chris Chibnall, are they? Sometimes even artistic in its simplicity of story. Doctor Who Flux is a beautiful mess, crying out for a disciplined figurehead to rein in the smattering of good ideas and streamline the lot into palatable narrative. Few names suit that mission statement better than Russell T Davies. Only problem is, he's not doing season 13. You're going to wait till season 14 for him to have any impact, right? So season 13, the way it's going, is going to be absolute dreck. It's going to be trash. They're going to lose even more viewers than what they are actually doing. In fact, let's have a look at what the ratings were for previous episodes of Modern Who. Doctor Who ratings. Radio Times. No, it's not on that one. I did remember it. Here we go. UK Ratings Accumulator. So let's have a look at the 2018-2019 ratings. Just make that a bit bigger for you. So you can see that at the start of 2018, they had 10.96 million, and you can see it steadily going down and down and down during the Chibnall and the current Doctor's era. And so it started at 10.96 million, so almost 11 million, down to about 7 million. So a 4 million viewership drop there. That's pretty significant, right? And then if we look at last season, 2021, Started at 6.89 million, so it's even less than what it ended with. Got a bit of a bump in the special, so specials always give you a bit of a bump in viewership. Started at 6.89 million, dropped down to 4.69 million before the special, and then it bumps up for the special because obviously it's the special episode, right? Look at that, almost 4.5 million viewers, a massive drop from 10.5 million, almost a 5 million drop going down, right? That's incredible. So you can see that this is a worry for the BBC, and that brings us on to the next article. BBC has lost creative control of Doctor Who for season 14 and beyond. Russell T Davies is returning to Doctor Who for season 14 and beyond, and a co-financing deal also means the BBC has lost creative control. Wow! It must show you how desperate they are to get the ratings back up, because they know they've absolutely driven it into the ground. BBC has lost creative control of Doctor Who from season 14 onwards. Radical changes are in store for the BBC's flagship science fiction TV series. Current showrunner Chris Chibnall is departing after season 13 and next year's specials, along with 13th Doctor Jodie Whittaker. Chibnall will be replaced. So I don't know why they keep calling the 13th Doctor, because you absolutely retconned who the Doctor was, so you actually don't know what number Jodie Whittaker actually is. So no one should be calling her the 13th Doctor, because we don't know what Doctor she actually is. Chibnall will be replaced by returning showrunner Russell T Davies, the man who relaunched Doctor Who successfully back in 2005. So yeah, that's just a bit of talk about Doctor Who and stuff. So this is an interesting thing. In the case of Doctor Who, the BBC has partnered with Bad Wolf, a production firm based in Wales, run by two former producers who worked with Davies in the 2005 relaunch. There have been reports Bad Wolf is soon to be acquired by Sony following a £60 million deal. So that could be interesting as well. According to the Times, Bad Wolf is responsible for the creative direction and production, while the BBC retains international sales, merchandise and other ancillary matters. BBC must be hoping they're going to save the show, because if they're going to rely on international sales and merchandise sales, man, it's got to be good for people to want to pay money overseas to see it, and also to pay money for the merchandise. Essentially, this means that Doctor Who season 14 onwards, the BBC will no longer have creative control of Doctor Who. The Times report this could mean the BBC will miss out on up to £40 million in commercial revenue for every 10 episodes. It's extraordinary that BBC Studios have just rolled over one source. Of course they've just rolled over, because they can see, we just saw that in the ratings plummet, right? They've lost more than half the number of viewers from 2019 to the end of 2021. It's absolute crazy. Of course they're going to be rolling over, because they know that whatever they're doing is absolute rubbish. The Times report seems overly critical. However, the BBC's finances are under significant strain, with the Conservative government continually placing pressure on their main source of income, the TV licence fee. There is no way the BBC can produce Doctor Who to the quality level they hope for without signing some sort of co-production deal. What's more, international distribution and merchandise sales are vitally important in many science fiction franchises, so losing those would have been a critical blow to another BBC revenue stream. And all the figures involved with Bad Wolf are experienced producers who have worked on Doctor Who before, with the original Davies era aging supposed. So hopefully these producers have seen how bad all the woke stuff that Chibnall has shoved into the franchise, and they're going to start to produce some more of the Russell T Davies era. But they're going to have to retcon the Timeless Child episode, because that is something that a lot of the Who fans will need to have. Right, and of course BBC are worried about the government getting rid of the TV licence fee, because you're now asking old age pensioners to pay the bloody licence fee. They've been paying the licence fee all their lives. Now you want them to pay the licence fee when they're on the pension as well. You have absolutely no shame, BBC, and you deserve to lose the licence fee. You should have to be able to produce content and sell your content through advertising. That way you won't produce woke rubbish like the current series of Doctor Who under Chibnall. Even the Times estimate the cost is probably an overestimate, because it fails to factor in the benefits of bringing back Russell T Davies. The BBC would only agree to something like this if execs weren't confident Davies and Bad Wolf could dramatically increase Doctor Who's profile with significant increases in viewership and or franchising. Of course, because they've lost over half the friggin' audience while bloody Chibnall has been in charge with Jodie Whittaker. Indeed, it's significant that back before he signed up to return as showrunner and before Bad Wolf was brought in, Davies reminisced about being ahead of the likes of Marvel and trying to build an entire universe around the show, with spin-offs such as Torchwood, the Sarah Jane Adventures. Davies' vision for Doctor Who seems to involve it expanding into a bigger franchise than ever before, in which case the BBC is taking a step back, and giving Davies the room to manoeuvre could pay off for them for a big way with Doctor Who. Well done, BBC. You've seen the light, you've seen what your woke rubbish has produced, and you know that you can't do it, so at least they've given it to someone else who should be able to produce something better. So here's hoping, fingers crossed, that in season 14 it will get better, but we've got to live through season 13 yet and look at what kind of damage that Chibnall and Jodie Whittaker can do in season 13. The only good thing about season 13 is it's only about 6 episodes long. So let's see what happens. Anyway, let me know what you think. Are you excited with the news that BBC have lost creative control of Doctor Who? Or do you think it's a bad move? I'd really love to know your comments. Let me know what you think. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like the video, you're welcome to give it a thumbs down. And hopefully I will catch you in the next video.